Hi, Kelly. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Happy
Thanks for having me.
Happy 30th anniversary of Dirty
Well,
Dancing.
I just realized that's why we're having the eclipse.
Oh, that must be it.
That's what it's about. It's about the 30th anniversary of Dirty Dancing.
Does it feel like 30 years ago?
No, not at
No.
all. It's stunning that
Um,
that happens at this age.
I found this out over the weekend that you were originally not meant to play Baby's mom in Dirty Dancing. You were supposed to play Vivian, the older woman who seduces Patrick Swayze. Is that right?
That's correct.
So how did you end up becoming Baby's mother?
Well, I think I was probably cast originally in the other role because I had been a dancer, and for some reason, dancers always, as they move into acting, tend to get cast as bad girls and
Right.
hookers, and I mean all this sort of thing. And of course, she was like a bad lady. So I went down to the location in Virginia. For a couple of days of rehearsals, I understood it, and they then took me down to the set, which was on the gazebo. They had it all set up with cameras, and they asked me to hello, hello, hello. I hadn't met the director. I hadn't met anyone.
Right.
I did know Jerry Orbach a bit.
Yeah.
And then they kept staring at me and said, "Would you stand over there?" Jerry, stand next to Kelly. Jennifer, go stand next to Kelly. I'm going, what's going on here? And then they mumbled among themselves and came and said, "We have released the actress who is playing the mother this morning, and we were wondering if you would be interested in playing that role." And I thought that is the most bizarre request I've ever had in my life, which then becomes very intriguing because I like strange things. And then they told me I would be, if I accepted it, that I would be starting that day and I would work throughout the entire film. Jerry Orbach whispering in my ear, take it, it's more screen time. So I thought, yeah, this is weird. Yeah, why not?
Were you disappointed at all? Did you want to play that other role?
The other role is the kind of a role that I played before.
Right.
I really no, it wasn't really just because I didn't have to take it. I could have just said no.
Yeah.
I probably gotten more money if I'd said no, but I didn't think.
But you wouldn't be here right now.
wouldn't
See,
be,
so
yeah.
why?
So yeah, I mean it was weird, but that's really kind of why I did it. I think because it was a weird request, and I like weird.
You like weird things.
Mm-hmm.
You're the stranger, the better.
Yes.
Let's go back 30 years. What's your favorite memory that sticks out from filming Dirty Dancing?
Maybe it's not one memory. We had so much fun because we were isolated. Both the first location was in Virginia. That's where you see the lodge, that beautiful stone lodge, and the lake and the gazebo. That was all done in one location. We then later moved to North Carolina, where you saw the little bridge that baby dances across, the big room at the end of the film itself, where we all danced together. But we were both times we were on mountaintops, far away from towns, like an hour's drive from the closest town. So it was cast and crew. We were kind of stuck together. So we really had fun. We had a wonderful time, drinking.
Drinking and partying?
Drinking, partying all the time. So it was just a fun film to make. It really was.
But am I mistaken, even though it was fun, that there was a certain expectation by the cast that maybe this wouldn't be the greatest film in the world?
We didn't think it was going to be a great film, no. And we didn't care. We were having a good time. I mean, we enjoyed the dancing. We enjoyed each other.
Well, why didn't you think it was going to be
Well, first of all, we didn't like the title.
Dirty Dancing?
We thought it
right.
just sounded a little exploitive or something, that it was weird. I don't know if they actually called it Dirty Dancing in those days. I'd never heard that. And we didn't think the story was very compelling. I think it's when it all came together. We knew there were good actors in it. It was nothing like that. But I think when it came together is when the music was added, when the soundtrack came in, and then it suddenly just came together, and it was, and that last song, "The Time of My Life," is just a fabulous song.
And that's kind of when you realized it, that it was going to be this was going to be something.
Actually, it was at the screening. I went, "Oh, that was really enjoyable. I like that. That was good."
So you're here for the 30th anniversary. Do you rewatch the film? I know, like, friends of mine. I'll admit this to you. I only saw it for the first time 3 months ago.
Wow.
I know. I think I'm the only. If you're listening to this, you're probably honking your horn right now. But I did. And friends of mine have seen it dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I mean, do you rewatch it as well?
I don't seek it out. However, it runs. It's right now. It's running someplace. Well, here in Canada, it certainly is. But you can turn on the television with all these channels, and at some point, you're going to find Dirty Dancing someplace. And what I find myself doing is, if I hit it and there's not something I'm specifically looking to watch, then I stay with it, no matter where it comes up in the film, because it's just enjoyable. It's nice.
Well, what do you think? I mean, I know it's nice and I know it's enjoyable. What do you think? There's not many films like that, like Dirty Dancing, that people want to watch 12, 13, 20, 25 times over. What do you think the appeal is?
I think, and we were talking about Gilmore Girls too. I think it's a nice place to revisit, and I must say it did capture the feeling of white America, white Jewish America more because it was the Catskills at that time. Because I was, I was probably 20 during those years, and that's really what it felt like to be living in America. It was before all of these things, assassinations and Watergate and all of that started happening, and there was an innocence, there was a confidence, there was.
Oh, right. It was seen as this kind of golden era,
It was.
post World War II golden era of the United States.
Yeah, it was good. It was a nice time, and that I really appreciated, and I also appreciated the fact that Eleanor Bergstein, who wrote it, visited the abortion issue because that was very, very important to young women who were sexually active. Because we had in the 60s, you see, it gave us permission, the girls, permission to have sexual relationships without being some kind of trollop, but now you're in a situation where you get pregnant. And it wasn't up to the guy very much. It was always up to the woman. And so the fear of pregnancy was profound. So the fact that she did that story, that part of that storyline, I thought was really important because it took us then to Roe v. Wade and where we are desperately holding on now.
Kelly Bishop, as you mentioned, you started your career as a dancer, as a classically trained dancer, a theater performer. You originated the role of Sheila in the musical A Chorus Line. In 1976, you won a Tony Award for that performance, and we have a clip from that evening. Let's take a listen. I'm gonna make sure I have my buttons on. Hit it.
Welcome to my theater. I've played in this theater several times in the chorus, and I am again. But I've done Tony Awards here too in the chorus, and this is one of those dreams, and it's come true. And I have to accept this along with the rest of the cast because it's impossible without. I'll keep it at my house.
That's Kelly Bishop accepting the award for Best Featured Actress in a Musical at the 1976 Tony Awards. So tell me honestly, what do you think when you hear that?
That it was so. I didn't expect to win, so I didn't have a speech.
Yeah.
As you could probably tell.
It's a good line, though.
But I was really, in a peculiar way, very sincere about Welcome to My Theater because I had worked at the Shubert Theater so many times. I mean, most of my Broadway dancing career had been at the Shubert Theater, so it really was Welcome to My Theater.
Right.
I didn't expect to get the laugh, but of course we always love laughs. I was very sincere about saying that was such an ensemble show that you could not do it without, everyone else. But there was one person in the cast, I won't even say who I thought, if I say this is for all of us, this person's going to say to me, well, you have to leave that Tony at the theater. So that's where that suddenly came in.
Right.
I'll keep it at my house.
Right.
Which then got another laugh. And I'm going, okay, this is great.
Yeah,
I mean, why not?
You can stay on stage forever then.
Yeah.
You could do tight five. Do you still have the Tony at your house?
Golly, yes, I do.
Good. Good, I'm glad. So you win the Tony Award for theater. You end up starring in Dirty Dancing, this cult classic movie, then a cult classic TV show like Gilmore Girls, then the Netflix revival of Gilmore Girls. Really multifaceted career. I see you shaking your head no at me. Is it hard to believe?
Lucky.
Yeah.
Yes, you make your own luck. I believe in tenacity. I think that's the only way you survive in this business. You just keep plugging along. But it's right place, right time. I'm telling you, luck has so much to do with it.
But you put in so much training and time as a dancer. Is it surprising to you that the longevity that has sustained you has been acting?
I think I always wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
I was trained very seriously in the ballet. It was a serious ballet school. There was no tap. There was no jazz.
Right.
It was Russian ballet, and it was severe. So what I had was really good training, and I was a really good dancer. I was really a strong dancer. But when I think back when I was a child, my playtime was down in the den in our house, and we didn't even have a mirror. I remember a bulb so I could see a shadow of myself on the wall, and it was acting. We had maybe 3 show albums, so I knew, like I knew Ado Annie's part completely. So I think I always wanted to act. And dancers do tend to make good actors if they do move on.
Why is that, I wonder?
I think it's because, say you're given a combination, a choreographer gives you a combination and you're going across the stage to do something and you're doing all the steps, but you kind of have to have a reason to do it. And the reason has to be in your head, and it's like, I'm free, I'm a bird, or I'm fleeing this, or I'm running to get that, or whatever it is. So you make up your own little story, and so that's always going on in the dancer's head. And I think that adds to it. If you look at a lot of the old stars, I mean, obviously Fred Astaire, but so many of the old stars started as dancers. Joan Crawford was a dancer.
Really?
There's some old footage of her dancing. She's a gorgeous woman. But there were a lot of old, George Raft. The list is endless. They were all dancers.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Kelly Bishop, who played Marjorie in Dirty Dancing, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary today. But you also might know her as playing Emily Gilmore on the hit series Gilmore Girls. I want to talk about Emily Gilmore. But before we do, let's take a listen to some classic Emily Gilmore. Here she is in season 3 of Gilmore Girls.
I'm not quite sure what other way there is to say no walnuts in the salad except to say no walnuts in the salad.
Mom, she just made a mistake.
She doesn't listen. She doesn't care. She has no work ethic.
She has some work ethic. You made her remake the salad 4 times.
I like things done correctly.
Preferably the first time.
Thank you, Richard.
You know, Mom, in Europe, they eat the salad last and the main course first.
We're not in Europe.
We could pretend.
Really, Lorelei, you can't wait 10 minutes for another salad. The situation's that dire.
4 salads ago, no, not dire. Right now, it's your money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Rory?
She didn't have lunch.
Fine.
Where are you going?
Apparently, we're going to be European tonight.
Apparently, we're going to be European tonight. That is Emily Gilmore of the Gilmore Girls, who may be one of the best TV characters, played by Kelly Bishop, my guest here. That's great.
Yeah, I love playing that character. I just love her.
Though I heard you wanted to make her as awful as possible.
Yes. I've played some unpleasant wealthy women before. I personally don't like those women very much.
Right.
I'm thinking of the New York, the icky ones.
Yeah.
And so whenever I get the opportunity to play someone who's really obnoxious, I really go for it because I don't like them. So I want to make them as hateful as possible.
But you make them as hateful as possible, and you make them awful, and then they end up becoming really beloved. And I was talking to her, the producer of the segment, Cora, and we were talking about. She said, do you think of Emily Gilmore as mean? And I went, just about, if you're listening to this, like Lorelai Gilmore's mother on the Gilmore Girls. And I thought, I don't know, I think I see her as kind of vulnerable. Like, I don't necessarily see her as awful. Is that surprising to you?
No. Well, I mean, from an acting point of view, I mean, you can't just sort of be one dimension. And when you're playing a character that's a villain or a villainess, you have to justify your behavior.
Right.
And so you have to do a lot of subtext for yourself. And I've always thought, actually, that she was vulnerable. I think the reason she holds on so tightly is because and I think there's actually a line, it's one of those many years, where she says, that's the way it was done. Mm-hmm. So it's safe there. I've got my little corral here, and I know I can.
She's safe in that big house. She's safe in her
relationship. And I don't dare go
go
outside of that because it would frighten me, and I would be vulnerable. But here I'm strong. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me. But I kind of made her my grandmother. My mother's mother treated my mother very much like.
Is that so?
Yeah, and my mother and I were really good friends, like Lorelai and Rory. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of interesting to.
So you were kind of playing your own grandmother.
Well, my grandmother. Let me put it this way: my grandmother was not called Grandma. My grandmother was called Louise.
Ooh.
Oh no, no Grandma for her.
No, thank you.
Louise. So that's where we started when I was like 2. Right. Louise.
Yeah. Looked her in the eye, called her Louise. I understand, 2 years old. Do people ever think you are more like Emily Gilmore?
Oh, yes. And every once in a while, especially early on, I'd run into people. Some guy'd say to me, boy, you remind me of my wife. And I go, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your life. Oh, my heavens. I wouldn't want to be married to her.
And you try letting people know, I'm very nice, I promise. I'm very pleasant.
I don't care.
Right.
Actually, it's kind of fun to scare people.
What do you mean?
Well, then they don't bother you.
Right. So they'll come up to you and talk to you, and you'll
I mean, people just think that they can just hang around with you. I mean, it's weird how fans will, and I don't really encourage them. I'm not afraid of them, but I don't. I'm not on social media. I don't do that kind of star thing. But if people feel really comfortable with you, especially because you are in their living room,
Yeah.
then they decide they can touch you. They can put their arm around you and go, "Ugh, I just really rather you didn't." So if they want to be afraid of me, they'll say Miss Bishop and they'll stay a little farther away from me.
How about this? If you listen to this, stop putting your arms around people.
Yeah,
How about that?
don't touch me.
Talk to people first. Being a TV mom is something you're kind of known for. I mean, there's the Gilmore Girls. I know you just kind
I know.
of pursed your face there. I'm talking Tobey Maguire's mother in Wonder Boys, Howard Stern's mother in Private Parts.
I forgot about her.
Dirty Dancing, of course, Gilmore Girls. What's going on? Why do you think you were cast so often as mothers?
Well, I finally got mothers, and I think it was Dirty Dancing that turned that around because I accidentally became the mother in that situation. I'd never been married. I was always like some career woman
Yeah.
or something like that. And I think in finally being a mother, then it opened up the door for other mother characters. I frankly find mother characters not very interesting,
Right.
especially if they're good moms, if they're nice moms. See, that's why I like Emily, because she's not a nice mom.
Well, does it ever bother you that you get cast so often as a mother?
No, no.
No?
No. Well, now I'm a grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I don't get cast as mothers much anymore, unless my kid's like 60.
But you never felt typecast all this time?
No, I did actually earlier on with the sexy glamour girl things that I was doing
Right.
over and over and over again.
Right.
But I'm sexy, so why not?
You're sexy and you know it. As we discussed, Gilmore Girls and Dirty Dancing. What was that band that sings "I'm Sexy and I Know It"? I can't remember. As we discussed, Gilmore Girls and Dirty Dancing still have. I think you're in that band. I still have so much life. Decades later, I mean, these are two shows. A lot of television shows you stop talking about the week after they air. A lot of films a lot of great films you don't talk about more than a couple of months after they air. These are two media that are still being talked about and enjoyed and revived in the case of the Gilmore Girls all these years later, and I guess in Dirty Dancing too. How does that make you feel?
Like I said, lucky. I am so grateful. I have been now in this business starting from a dancer.
Yeah.
I have been in this business for 55 years. Mm-hmm. And I never had to wait a table. I never had to do temp work. I've somehow managed to make a living. Sometimes it was a little tough. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it was amazing. All these years, I am so grateful for this because it's what I wanted to do. See, that's why I believe people have to follow their star. Mm-hmm. Even if they say, well, yeah, but that's not a secure thing. I don't care if it's secure. Follow it. Go find out. Mm-hmm. You're going to find things along the way. Something's going to pull you off and go, oh, I didn't know you could make money doing that. I love that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that. So people should always follow their star.
You know what I think the link is between Dirty Dancing and Gilmore Girls that makes it so successful? Kelly Bishop.
That's it.
We found the secret.
That's why we're having the eclipse.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. It was really fun.